Hey everybody, Choppadong here. Let's go through the too tight player pool, too tight cash picks, too tight player pool, whatever we want to call it, with DFSArmy.com using their tools, using the DFS Optimizer, DS Domination Station Optimizer. If I could talk, that would be great. But truth be told, we've had a busy day here, so we're all wrapped up in our head. And what we're going to do is we're going to rely on a simple system to get us all back on track. That is the beauty of what we do here at DFSArmy.com is we help you simplify your game and get it back on track. So we dive into the optimizer, and all we need are ownerships, because ownerships, as we've said many, many times before, are leading us to the correct plays. That's why everybody these days sees them with the data that everybody uses to build their lineups and spot key matchups. We go tournament mode, 2 uniques. We build about 5 lineups, no randomization, no nothing. No stacking, no nothing. I'll show you at the end of the video here how we'd set up for a 100-man league, because we talked a lot this morning, or a little bit this morning, about contest selection. And when you're playing a 119,000 person contest like the MME Nickel, don't expect to get a lot of results out of that thing unless you win it. Had a member talking about getting close. You know, he didn't feel like he was getting that close, 40 points away from winning the thing like almost every night, and wondered, why not me? Well, 40 points is still really, really good. If it took 315 points to win the nickel, what I pointed out to him, in case you missed the conversation, was 40 points out of 317 whatever is what? 317, and then we'll do the player pool here real quick. 317 minus 40 points was crazy. It was a 277. So we said like a 275 still beat. A 277 still beat like 119,695 people out of 119,760 people. When you divide 119,695 into 119,760, you beat 99.9457% of the world. Basically 99.9995% of the world. That's everybody. You beat everybody. 99.995% of the world, or whatever. That's like you just beat everybody. And expecting to get from 99.995 to 99.99995 or whatever is unrealistic. You got so damn close to perfect that it was only luck separating you from everybody else. And last night we used 4x3 stacks a lot of times. Everybody was using a 4x4. That's what won last night. You had Boston go off for 16 runs and the LA Dodgers go off for 14 runs. And everybody in that offense pretty much scored big points. So you needed 4 from one and 4 from the other, which again goes back to our stacking optimal stacks for formations for tournament and slate sizes and whatever else, another graphic in the VIP forums, where 4x3s usually work, but there are times to use 4x4s on bigger slates. There are times to use 4x and stuff on smaller slates. Why? Because when you have a bigger slate of, say, 10, 12, 15 offenses to pick from, the odds of 2 offenses going off really, really hard are higher than if you only had 4 offenses to pick from. So rewind this video. Listen to what I'm saying if you're struggling right now, because beating 99.95% of the world is really, really good, as well as a 4x3 versus a 4x4, knowing when to use. That's all kind of luck in terms of what really works that night or not. You just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And one of these nights, the luck will find you. It is skill to get close. To get into the top 99% is close, but to get into the top 99.9995, that's the luck. And so we're waiting our turn for the luck. But getting back to the cash game scenario stuff, what we're going to do is uncheck everybody after we sort that projected ownership to the top, and we're going to go position by position. Shane Bieber and Sean Manaea are your cash game pitchers tonight. That's it. Not John Gray. He's carrying some ownership. Might be a good tournament pivot. Justin Verlander's a great tournament. This can't be right. I would really be surprised if Verlander's not the cash one, but looks like it's Bieber or Manaea tonight for the sake of this run and this test. Will Smith is getting enough ownership at 15%. You could use him because we like guys that are about over 15%. Freddie Freeman and then a whole bunch of everybody else. This is a really odd run in the domination station. I would wait another hour or two for this thing to populate in, but as of right now, this is how we do it, okay? Freddie Freeman's about the only cash considerable guy. We go to second base, just based on the ownerships. We got 2 options there, maybe a third, and Chris Taylor, maybe a fourth, Ryan McMahon, Trevor Story's up there. Yeah, okay, so we're getting up here before there's the major drop off is here, but another one doesn't come until down about here. So if you want to include all of these guys, that's great. Hopefully we don't have Dodgers all over the lineups tonight, because that we don't want too many players from one particular team. Justin Turner, and then a big drop off, sure, fine. But Devers is the guy, actually. You could probably, well, you don't want to check McMahon because he was in the second base conversation, but you don't need Turner tonight. Devers is the guy. Shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, interesting because he's been shit lately. You should be choosing Trevor Story over him all day and twice on Sunday. Carlos Correa is not getting enough ownership, but he's usually a good name to use as well. Dansby Swanson, especially leading off, makes an outstanding tournament pivot. He's not getting enough ownership for what he can do. I mean, he popped off the other night with a home run. JD Martinez, Byron Buxton has been shit lately. I wouldn't even check him for a cash game. Dalton Varsho. Nelson Cruz has actually been okay lately. Juan Soto has not been. If you want to verify which of these guys are good for cash games and aren't, like if you get a position like third base, is it second base, starting to get really, really deep, 4, 5, 6, 7 dudes. You want to keep this down to about the top 3 guys per slate where you can when it makes sense. If you start getting deeper than that into the top 4, top 5, top 6, you're going to want to start game log hunting these guys. Like I don't know about Polanco, so I'm leaving him in there, hoping the optimizer doesn't necessarily take him because I'm thinking that Trevor Story's the man. McMahon has been pretty good lately. Chris Taylor's been up and down. Trey Turner's normally fine. Kike Hernandez is fine. So I've really got about 3 guys in there that I know about that are good. But when I get to some of these other positions, Luis Arias has been great, but he's not taking the ownership tonight. So we don't need him in a cash game because, again, taking that lower owned guy, if he gets a 0 on you, it really, really hurts you more than if you take that 25, 30% owned guy and he gets a 0 on you. So that's why I left out Xander Bogaerts. And I know that if he burns me, he burns me. JD Martinez is fine. Byron Buxton, that's why I left some of these guys out. Soto, I could probably check him back, to be honest with you. What happened with the old ownerships there? Where did Juan Soto go? He's one I need. Lane Thomas popped in there all of a sudden. That's interesting. 7-hole, not a big fan. I like to stay in the top 5, but I've seen worse picks. But once I get those names all checked back and I'm sitting on 20 players, that's usually where we are, 20 to 25 players. Sometimes 16, 17 players. It's too tight and it doesn't run lineups with the optimizer, but 20 to 25 usually gets us lineups. I don't want to see 4 Dodgers. Good. I see 3 Washington, 2 Boston, and 3 LA Dodgers. That's okay. That is kind of a tournament type of lineup, but there you go. That would be okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Washington guys, too many. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 1. Or is it 3, 2, 2, 1? This would be a little bit better. It's a little bit more spread out. It's not so heavily concentrated on one offense. It is concentrated on the LA Dodgers, but not like the Dodgers and the Nationals and some Red Sox, right? It's got 2 Sox, 2 Nationals, 3 Dodgers, and 1 from a 3rd and 4th team. That's okay. Come down here, 1, 2. There's another one even. 2, 3 Dodgers, 1 Red Sox, 1 Varsho, 2 Nationals, 1 Minnesota Twin. So yeah, it starts to spread out a little bit. That's okay. 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. This is even better. This is a really, really strong lineup for cash because, again, you're set around 4 offenses as opposed to just around 2 or 3 offenses at this point. But, based on it being Polanco and I do like Varsho, Freeman, Taylor, Trey Turner. Can't say that I like that one that much. I might take out like a Freeman or a Turner and see who I can swap in for them. Will Smith, no. Garrett Stubbs, hell no. Come down here and look at Trey Turner at shortstop. Is it a deeper position? Trevor Story or Polanco? Trevor Story probably gets me too many. Yeah, now I'm on 3 bats here. Devers is the guy we already know. That would cost me Kike Hernandez. And if I go into the outfield for Kike Hernandez, Yadiel Hernandez, Joey Gallo is not going to be a cash game guy for me. So we're kind of stuck in that general player pool, that general build. But any of those players that you use for about any combination, as long as you don't go over about 3 per team, you're probably really set up well for cash games. For tournaments, I would come back here to all, and I would check them all back, right? And I would build maybe more lineups. So if I was building like for a 3 max type of tournament, Then I'm going to kick it into tournament mode. I should have been in optimal mode before, but it's not going to make a big difference. With our new update, I'd put about 10 to 15% randomness on the pitcher, and I'm putting 25 to 30% randomness on the hitters. And that's it for that category. I'm going to randomly select the teams, and I'm going to, for smaller tournament situations, I'm going to allow quite a few of these 4x3s. They tend to work. That's 80%, but I'm going to 50, 30, and 50, and then I'm going to put about the remaining 20% on a 3x2. It's still going to get me some 3x3s and 4x2s and stuff like that, which is fine. I'm going to unload back only the teams that I know are facing bad pitching. San Diego, Oakland, Texas, Arizona, LA, New York Mets, and Philly. That's a good one. Tampa, New York, St. Louis, Milwaukee, LA, Toronto, Boston, Baltimore, Cleveland, Washington, Colorado. Believe it or not, Colorado's been a good offense. Not on the road, so we'll leave them off tonight. We'll just use these 4 guys. We'll put about a 30% max on each, because what I'm trying to do is make sure I use all these teams a little bit to build me all of my teams. Now I'm going to come back over here and be a little bit wider. The teams that I know are either facing bad pitching or are a good offense. And that would be Houston's been good, San Diego's good, against Pittsburgh's great. We want to be targeting Pittsburgh all year long. Oakland against Texas is pretty good. Arizona, LA. LA's a good pitching staff. Arizona's been a decent offense. Mets, Philly's been a decent offense, actually. Tampa, New York, same diff. St. Louis, Milwaukee, same diff. LA, not so much Toronto right now. Boston's been fine. Cleveland's been fine. This is where you would use Washington and Colorado. In fact, you might use Washington as a main team, and probably Atlanta as a decent offense, right? Well, probably not. They should be facing bad pitching. I'm going to put about 20% on these teams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a mix of these 3 or 4 teams and then these 10 teams. So I'm going to get about 3 of these teams and about 5 or so of these teams, and I'm going to rip it for 25 lineups. I don't care necessarily about the pitcher. I'm going to get a lot of Shane Bieber in what I do anyway, most likely. I'm getting a lot of Mania. There's Verlander coming in. There's Bieber coming in. This is a good mix. And then some also-rans to give me some ideas just in case. I check my stacks. San Diego, LA, Minnesota, Washington, Mets. Mostly up here. San Diego's interesting that the optimizer likes them, but if should like the Dodgers, should like Minnesota against KC, that's fine. This is going to produce some lower-owned combinations for you, which is what you want in the tournaments. They still make a ton of sense because this is what is going to stack these offenses up. It's taking advantage of weaker pitching or strength of offense, and it's going to land on those lower owned picks because it's not using all of those cash game players that we liked. We're using a lot of Tampa Bay. It looks like it's a weird combination tonight, but there's 3 Dodgers, 2 Braves, a Royal, Diamondback, and a Boston guy. This is a fine one. This is a little too spread out. This one's not stacked, right? This has no organization to it. I wouldn't use this one. There's one that's 4 Nats and 3 Bostons. That's fine with a Gleyber Torres one-off. And John Gray as a pitcher is a bit risky. You might even look at who you might swap out for him that you might like better. There's 3 Rockies, 4 Dodgers with Jared Walsh. There's 4 Minnesota guys. JD Martinez is a one-off. 3. It builds beautiful lineups with Mania as a chalky pitcher. It builds absolutely beautiful lineups. You want that one-off to be able to break the slate. There's 4 Twins, 3 Bostons, and a Margot. This one's not as strong. 1, 2, 3, 4 with 3 Phillies with Harper and Schwarber and them in there. And Devers is a one-off. It's a great lineup right here with a lot of potential. 1, 2, 3, 4 Minnesota Twins. Tony Kemp, maybe not so much. You're hoping he has a big ceiling type of game. But for 2,400, that's 15 points. 3 Angels with Trout, Ohtani, and Wade. That's okay. Houston 4-2-2 formations, okay there. 3-2-2 here with a Devers one-off, that's fine as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 Dodgers. It's hard to pick from these types of lineups. So whatever you're looking for, if you're looking for a combination using the Colorado Rockies on the road, that's a sneaky tournament move. If you're looking for something a little bit more chalky with Minnesota and Washington in it with some Boston one-off in it and a chalky pitcher, this would be a lineup for you. All of these lineups are in good positions to work out and win big money. We just don't know which one's going to work out that night. So if you're building a 20 max type of situation, you might just run those. But for cash games, run the former system. Learn how to use both, learn how to play both types of contests, and come inside and visit us at dfsarmy.com, where one-stop shopping for all daily sports happens on a daily basis. Use the coupon code DFS Army for a 10% off discount, and we'll talk to you all on the inside. Have a good Friday.